Hello? Yeah, I'll hold. I've been playing first-person shooters since I was around 4 or 5 and played the co-op Halo campaign with my dad. I don't remember much about the experience besides my dad getting mad at me because I kept walking in front of him when he was trying to shoot the Covenant. When I got older, I played a lot more Halo and eventually a lot of Call of Duty as well. I started playing a lot more narrative shooters and solo experiences that could be shared with other people alongside me. As I entered my teenage years, I spent a lot of time playing Black Ops 2, Borderlands 2, Halo Reach, and Dead Island with my sisters and friends around the time. However, I hit a point in my life a couple years ago where I started to cut down on first-person shooters because I was starting to get bored with the genre, specifically Call of Duty. I took some time and started to play games from other genres like Kingdom Hearts, Ratchet & Clank, and The Legend of Zelda. I still occasionally play shooters in social situations or to play Call of Duty Zombies, but other than that, I'm not a huge fan of them. However, this year I discovered a couple first-person shooter games that made me completely rethink the way I thought about the first-person shooter genre. In fact, the games completely changed the way I thought about video games as a whole, and those two games were BioShock and SuperHot. I wanted to tell you guys this because I want to tell you my experience with the genre so you can understand the kind of person that's about to say the following statement. SuperHot is the most innovative shooter I've played in years. As a very simple overview of what SuperHot is, it's a game where a bunch of red guys are trying to kill you. You're outnumbered and outgunned, but time only moves when you move. You have the options to either shoot guns, throw things, or punch your enemies to make them shatter into a million pieces and shower down like shards of broken dreams. You know that you can use something if it's black, which makes it really easy for the player to get a grip on the tools at hand. Every time you beat a level, the game starts going SuperHot. And you can see a real-time sped-up version of what you just did, and it feels so good, which is why it's a wonderful, wonderful reward for completing the level. Okay. Basically, the time mechanic makes the game super fun. You start off feeling like an absolute badass, and that feeling only gets better as you become better at the game. And let's be real, games that get more fun as you master the mechanics are slowly getting harder to come by. Most of the time when you're better at the game, you don't feel as challenged and it gets boring, but SuperHot never felt like that to me for reasons we'll discuss later in the video. There are 3 guns, the pistol, the shotgun, and the assault rifle that all shoot differently and have different ammo counts. There's no way to tell if you're out of ammo unless you pull the trigger and nothing happens, which kinda sucks because that makes the time move forward a little bit and can screw you over in specific situations. I know I said that it kinda sucks, but I didn't mean that from a game design perspective. I don't think this experience would be anywhere near as enjoyable with anything like an ammo count on the screen, and they obviously took this into consideration when making the game. The guns always have the same amount of bullets when you get them, so if you count how many bullets you've shot, you'll know when you run out. Each gun also has different amounts of recoil. When time is slowed down, that changes how long you have between shots, causing you to be selective about who you shoot in certain situations. You can tell when you can shoot again by looking at the reticle. Are you hooked yet? Well, what if I told you this game is also in VR? I'm saving that one for the next video. A lot of this game is about managing your time and space so you can put yourself somewhere safe while killing everything in sight. There are some levels that make you feel like the powerhouse of the cell and other levels that make you consider jerking the steering wheel. Moving so you can dodge bullets from 5 enemies that are shooting you and getting the timing right so you can kill them all while waiting for your gun to come back can feel a little overwhelming at times. But you slowly start to figure out a good sequence of events that works well enough for you to take them all out, and it feels so good. Alright. It's time to start talking about the story. Sure, it's a series of random levels that just put you in different scenarios, but the game does a very good job at making the player curious as to what's going on in the story. To this day, I can't figure out if there's a legitimate answer to the boatload of questions I have after playing this game. I mean, even MatPat couldn't come up with an answer. Well, I mean, he did, but his answer was basically there is no answer. To start off, this game has an interesting dynamic where it sort of breaks the fourth wall at times. When you load up the game, you boot up a computer and somebody sends you the superhot.exe file for you to run, and that's what starts the game. The main menu looks like a computer screen and it implies that the character you're playing as is playing the game, which makes that character you in the real world. What? Okay, I know that was a little confusing, so basically, there's you in the real world playing as the character that's playing superhot.exe. Does that make sense? We good? Alright. So you're sending messages back and forth between you and the person who sends you the game to begin with. You start getting the feeling that someone doesn't want you playing this game because you start getting messages that tell you to stop playing the game. Then the messages that you're typing to your friends start getting overridden by the computer, and what you're actually trying to say is no longer going through to him at all. As you go further and further into the game, your mind starts to merge with it, and it starts influencing you with messages and commands. The game then shows you that it's watching you in the real world, and you see yourself with a VR headset on in front of a PC, and that's when things start getting really weird. The game has too strong of an influence on your character, and it's really interesting because at the same time, your real world self is also continuing to play the game, and I can't decide if I should continue to play this game or not. Oh hey, yeah, yes? Yeah, I need a therapist because I'm not sure what's real anymore. Oh, well basically I've been playing this- oh, hold on. You also get this new ability halfway through the game that allows you to hot switch. Basically, you could turn into one of the enemies and that kills the character you were a second ago. It's really useful for situations when you're about to get killed, so you can turn into someone else. There are also moments where you may just need to get across a room and don't want to deal with dodging all the bullets while you do it, so you hot switch so you can reach your enemies easier. It's nice to have something to mix up the playstyle halfway through the game so it doesn't get too stale. Anyways, your goal through the whole game is to get to this pyramid and hot switch into it. The pyramid is supposed to be the core of the system, and when you get into it, you basically become a god for some reason. I really wish I could explain this story to you, but I don't understand what's happening half the time. I'm just having fun. Oh, there's also these terminals that are hidden in a lot of the levels. You go outside of the intended play area for most of them, but there's also a lot of other secrets hidden outside the level that are pretty interesting. Every time you find a terminal, you get to ask the system one question, and it always replies with some nonsense that doesn't actually answer the question. Although there is one where you ask it, and you say something along the lines of, "Why can I control time?" and it just replies, "You can control time?" And that probably gave me the most information out of all of them, but it just made me more confused. At the end of the game, the system tells you to recruit other players and send messages out to people so it can recruit more people to do its bidding. This was a really cool way to get people to share the game around and a really interesting marketing technique. It does this by telling everyone to say it's the most innovative shooter they've played in years. Funnily enough, it's true anyway, so I have absolutely no problem saying it, and when someone else says the phrase, you feel like you're in on the joke. So yay, you beat the game, and unfortunately it was kinda short. However, that isn't even close to all the content this game has to offer. As soon as you finish the game, it lets you know that endless mode has been unlocked. Of course, there's an endless mode. This is the perfect kind of game to have an endless mode. You basically just try to survive as long as possible without getting hit. I'm just postponing my inevitable doom! There are a bunch of levels you can unlock by getting kills in endless mode, and if you get enough kills in a level, you unlock more modes to play in that level. The 3 modes you can unlock are a mode that times you in real time how long it takes for you to kill 30 enemies, a mode where you kill as many people as possible in 20 seconds game time, and a mode where you try to kill as many enemies as possible in 1 minute. I'm personally not a huge fan of these modes and prefer just the normal endless experience, but I know there are a lot of people out there that appreciate the speedrun type modes. While playing the endless mode, I initially struggled to get 30 kills in one go. My goal was to unlock all the levels, so I was just trying to get as many kills as possible in a short amount of time, and eventually discovered a way of playing that completely changed the way I played every level in SuperHot. Basically, if there's a level where you can get a katana, you can probably find a place in the map where enemies have to go around a corner to kill you, and then they'll just line up for their doom. The best part is the weapons on the ground break themselves after a short amount of time in endless mode, and when anything around an enemy breaks, it stuns them. So not only are you piling them up in one spot where you can kill them with a one-shot weapon that doesn't have ammo and never breaks, they're also piling onto a spot that constantly stuns them and prevents them from ever shooting you. I haven't found a place like this in every endless level, but for the ones I did, I easily got to 100 kills. Not only that, but some of the levels take place in areas that are in the main game, meaning that whenever I play those levels, I know a new method to do it without dying, which comes especially useful when playing the game's challenge modes. Ah yes, challenge modes. This is my favorite addition to SuperHot, and where I spend a lot of my time when I launch the game. You basically go through 25 select levels from the game, but with some sort of twist that makes you play them in a different way. Most of the challenges make you think of levels in a completely different way, and some challenges actually just make the game easier and really fun. When you first open the challenges menu, you only have one challenge at the top of the screen that is titled Katana Only. You unlock the next challenge by completing a few of the levels in Katana Only, and the game keeps track of how far you've progressed in each challenge. I'm going to separate the challenges into 3 categories: the challenges, the hard challenges, and the speedruns. First off, the challenges. Starting with Katana Only, you have to go through the game with just a katana. Like I said while doing Endless, this isn't that hard at all, and there are only a few times when the game gets a little tricky with it. Just find a corner. The only real challenge that comes with this is that if you throw your katana and miss, or the katana breaks, you have no way of killing the enemies. You can only do damage with the katana. Full Stop was the first mode that really challenged me. Enemy bullets fly faster than usual, and every gun you get only has one bullet. I didn't think the faster bullets would make that much of an impact, but oh my gosh. Dodging those bullets was so much harder than I was expecting. If you aren't prepared for a shotgun blast, you're going to die, and having only one shot with every gun makes you have to think through every situation very carefully. Okay, that's it for the challenge runs. Now for the hard challenges. For the hard challenges, you have to complete every level in each game mode to unlock the next one.
Haha! I am a SuperHot god. Nothing can defeat me.
Yeah, okay. Some levels are pretty easy, and other levels just feel impossible. I beat some of these levels from sheer luck and other levels by cheesing the game. This is the first game mode that made me think, yeah, okay, I'm not having fun right now, so I'm gonna stop. It really sucks that the next few game modes are locked behind completing this one, because they're so much more fun. They really are. Hard mode is the game mode where the time moves a little quicker while you're not moving. The enemy bullets move faster like Full Stop, enemies aren't stunned for as long as usual, and it takes 5 punches instead of 3 to kill an enemy. The only hard thing about this run is the sped up time. After doing bare hands, this game mode was a breeze, and I remember constantly saying, "You have given Flaffy gun! Flaffy is
God now."
That brings us to the next game mode, the Impossible Run. This is pretty much just hard mode, but every gun only shoots 1 bullet. Yeah, this was really annoying. I felt like all the power I just got was ripped away from me. Then finally, we have no restart. Everything is normal, you have everything at your disposal, it's just a completely normal run, except you have to go through all 25 levels without dying a single time. This requires you to have completely mastered the game, understand the physics, have the timing down, know where the enemies spawn, and have enough patience to get through all 25 levels in one sitting. The good thing is, by the time you've gotten to this point, you've probably gone through all of these levels at least 9 times by now, so you probably have a good understanding of the game's mechanics. This run didn't actually take me very long, and I almost beat it on my first try. After doing the brutal no hands in impossible game modes, this mode actually felt like a breeze. I think the only reason I didn't do this on my first try was because I literally got shot through a wall. It went through the wall. Just honestly, after everything else, this game mode was a lot easier than I was expecting it to be. And that's the last one of the hard challenges, although there is something I want to point out about this game that I really appreciate. I've been watching a lot of the YouTube channel called The Completionist lately. His whole show is about 100% completing games and reviewing them, and he has a scoring system at the end of the video that tells you whether or not you should finish the game or complete it. Almost every big popular game he plays tends to get the score finish it rather than complete it, and for the most part it's because most games don't often reward the player for completing it. I bring this up because SuperHot gives you a reward for finishing no restart, and that reward is a final challenge called Fun Fun Fun. The entire mode is a complete meme where the character models have inflated heads and all the text that shows up on the screen is written in Comic Sans, with bright colors. They also made all the enemies die from having things thrown at them, making this the easiest game mode in the game. After completing all the other game modes, it's a really nice way to not only feel like a god while playing the game normally and seeing how far you've come from your first playthrough, but it's also a lighthearted feel that makes you feel relaxed and gives you a good laugh after a stressful experience of maintaining a perfect run. And then we have the speedrun modes. I know there are a lot of people out there that really enjoy these speedrun modes, but it's not really for me. Luckily, the developers realized that different challenge modes would interest different types of players, so playing the speedrun modes isn't required to unlock any of the other challenge modes. Yeah, I know, right? Game developers thinking about their players? That's funny. So the first mode is just speedrun, where you try to beat the game as quickly as possible using the in-game timer. The idea is to make as few movements as possible while killing everyone, so you're basically shooting for a perfect run of every level. There's a set time called red times in every level, and your goal is to beat them. You're going to be spending a lot of time putting yourself in perfect positions and learning enemy movement patterns so you don't miss any bullets. The second speedrun mode is called Speedrun RT, and the RT stands for real time. Everything is the same as the last mode, but the game is tracking real time instead of in-game time, meaning you don't have the time to take it slow and think about what your next move is going to be while playing. The final mode is called Hot Switch, where you have Hot Switch unlocked for every level in the game, and the timer uses in-game time. It's the only way to play all the levels normally with hot switch, and it's the only reason I really play this mode. Maybe someday I'll go back and try to beat all the red times, but once again, it's not really for me and I don't really see it happening. Overall, these challenges and speedrun modes are a fantastic way to mix it up and have fun with the game mechanics. The entire game revolves around the idea that time only moves when you move, and it's obvious the developers were just coming up with fun ways to play with the idea as they continue to make the game. There are a bunch of other extras and goodies in the menus like a tree cutting minigame, but I don't think there's much in these menus worth talking about too much.
These people are completely fine. They are just enjoying a new exciting video game.
SuperHot is an amazing experience, and it's a game I think everybody would enjoy. It's a short-lived experience if you don't plan on going through all the other modes after beating the game. It goes on sale for $10 pretty often on Steam, and I'd wait for that if you're interested in buying it. It's a nice game to play if you want to kill time or only have a short amount of time before you have to go to work or something. If I can't decide what game I want to play, I often just turn on SuperHot. It's not a game I can play for hours on end, but it's a very enjoyable experience and I always have fun playing it in short 1-hour sessions.